Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's Saturday the 14th of January 2017 and I'm back from group and ready to talk about my week. I'll go to my results for the week and I'll explain how I think I achieved this result. My result for this week is a loss of £2. Now, I started the week with the intention of reducing my mileage for walking for the simple reason that we were creeping up towards 60 miles a week, and while we were really enjoying it, I was really conscious that I needed to do a walking plan that I could be consistent with. And we don't have as much time as we used to have during the week because of different circumstances, and so I knew that consistently walking between 55 and 60 miles a week wasn't going to be achievable. Taking a realistic look at it, 35 to 40 miles is easily achievable for us. So I took the decision that this week, with Joe, I took the decision that this week we would walk maximum 40 miles, minimum 35, giving me an average of 5 miles a day, which is my goal. But to do this, I thought I would have to make an adjustment to my food intake because I generally fuel my walking with a good healthy diet. So I actually took out an A choice. So I reduced to 1 A choice and 2 B choices this week. I think maybe I didn't need to do that because it gave me a weight loss of £2, which was not necessary and has taken me out of the bottom end of my target, only by £1, so I can get back in easily enough. But if I can't experiment on myself, who can I experiment on? And it's highlighted to me that I definitely need to bring back in that A choice, so increase my A choices to 2. And I maybe need to increase my sins because again, I've been aiming between 5 and 10 sins, averaging probably 7.5. And I need to up that a bit. So going forward this week, I'm intending to bring back the A choice and up my sins to, let's say, between 10 and 12 and see where that takes me. So moving forward to next week, we're looking for a 1.5 to 2 pound weight gain. I don't know if I like that word. Yeah, 1.5 to 2 pound weight gain. There was a lady standing behind me in the queue this morning, one of the ladies who's been there longer than me, lovely lady, and when I got on the scales and they said you're out of target, she went to pass me my handbag. Stick this on your shoulder, she said. Now my handbag, the one I had today, was quite big, quite bulky. It had 2 packets of highlights in it. It had a new beginner's pack in it. It had a big Radley purse and lots of other stuff, the stuff we carry around with us girls. And I think my handbag would have weighed half a stone. And I rejected it. I said no. Because of the way I am. If I am going to come on here and be dishonest with you, it'll mess with my head. And if I'm going to hang a half-stone handbag on my shoulder so that I can be within target, which laughably would have taken me right to the top end of my target anyway, then I'm not being honest either with myself or with you, and there's no point to that. So I said no to the handbag and I took the loss I deserved, which maybe wasn't the loss I really wanted, but it's good enough for me. So moving forwards, I'm in an okay place. Our mileage for this week was 40.63, and our intention going forward is to keep it between 35 and 40. And that was really strange because by Thursday we'd got that mileage, which meant we couldn't go walking yesterday. And oh my God, did I miss it. I was itching to get out there. I was changing beds and hoovering and doing cleaning jobs I usually hate to do, just for something to do because I couldn't go out and walk. So I'm going to have to pace myself a little better. I was laughing with a friend, Elaine, this week about the fact that, I cleaned the oven for something to do. How mad am I? I mean, that is a job I loathe. I'd sooner pay somebody to come in and do that. But needs must. And if I need to keep busy, I'm going to have a clean oven from now on. Fabulous group this morning, although Naomi, bless her, is absolutely full of flu and had a very bad throat. And I don't know how she kept going through the group, but she did. She did us a really grand job. We had an influx of new members again. I think maybe a few more than we had last week. And the room was packed, and it's a big room. But it was good. It was friendly and nice atmosphere, nice place to be. Between the two groups this morning, we lost £255, which is slightly in excess of 18 stone. I mean, that's going some. And yet we had a lot of £0.5 and £1 losses. We did have a couple of sort of 7 and 8s because we had new members from last week. But I think that's some going. And that's the first time we've gone over the £200 lost in a week. And to go over it by more than 25% I think is brilliant. We were talking this morning about eating until you're satisfied and not eating until you're stuffed. Now for me, when I started this journey, that was a massive learning curve because all I knew how to do was eat until I was stuffed, because I never seemed to have that switch in my brain that said, whoa, stop, you're full. You know, my friends had it, my other family members had it, but I never knew what that felt like. I could always eat more. And even when I felt stuffed, in all honesty, I could have eaten more until it got to the stage that, you know, I felt quite painfully uncomfortable because I was too stuffed. So one of the things that Naomi focused on this morning was try to recognise when you're satisfied. And I know that Joe and I have talked about this, referring to myself. What did I have to learn? Well, I had to learn that I could still stop eating when I felt like I wasn't totally full. And Joe used to say to me, if you just wait 20 minutes before you consider eating anything else, you'll feel the difference. And I have to say, in all honesty, today I can feel that difference. I don't feel the same 20 minutes after I've stopped eating as I do when I've just popped in that last mouthful. I do feel satisfied today. What it used to lead to me doing was believing I needed to eat a pudding or a dessert or something sweet after I'd eaten something savoury. Now generally and genuinely, I am a savoury tooth person. I don't have massive cravings these days for sweet foods. But that's new learned behaviour. I wasn't always that way. I used to seesaw between something savoury, something sweet, especially if I was in a binge cycle. You know, it would be a pork pie followed by cake, followed by crisps, followed by chocolate, just seesawing backwards and forwards between those two food groups. I don't have that anymore, thank God. But I know that's only come about because I follow this plan. I've learnt about moderation through this plan and know for me today what is the normal portion size. I never knew that. I honestly never knew that. What I learned this week, which has been really interesting, because one of the food groups I don't eat a huge amount of is carbs. Now I'm aware that a lot of vegetables have carbs in and I eat a big amount of vegetables. But I don't focus my plate these days on rice and pasta and mega amounts of potato the way I used to. I choose to eat a proper portion of those things when I choose to have them. So I had Joe this week looking up what is, for me, a proper portion. Now this is not going to be right for everybody. You have to find your own way around this. I'm not saying Slimming World says eat this amount. I'm saying what's right for me today. If we buy in Sainsbury's a 1 kilogram bag of white basmati rice, their website tells me that is 17 portions. When you work that out in your calculator, it means that a portion of dried rice is 57 grams. Looking back to the start of my journey at 22 stone, I would have probably had, in all honesty, 200 grams of dried rice and thought of that as a portion, because my plate would have had to be full of rice so I could balance other foods on top of it. Pasta, a 500 kilogram bag of brown pasta or whole wheat pasta from Sainsbury's is 5 servings, which denotes that a single serving is 100 grams of dried pasta. Now, if I was going to eat that today, wholemeal pasta, or if I was going to eat white basmati rice today, I know for me the right action would be to weigh it out. Because even when you're blind, your eyes can be bigger than your belly. And I'm very good at getting a saucepan, a stainless steel saucepan, and just tipping the rice into the pan and then adding water. And I'm heavy-handed. Now, I know that when you cook pasta, you put the water in the pan first, you bring your water to the boil, and then you add your pasta. We have our pasta in a big OXO container, and I would go handful, does that another handful. And I know for me today that would be way over 100 grams of dried pasta. But I also know that because of the way I've evolved on this plan, what is going to keep my weight off is sticking to those kind of rules. Because if I went back to doing it the way I used to do it, the weight would pile back on. It creeps off slowly, but it piles back on quickly for me. So yeah, they're valuable things that I've learnt this week. And I'm grateful to know that for me today, rice 57 grams, pasta 100 grams. That feels safe and it doesn't wobble my head. Right, couple of other little things I'm going to speak about before I move on to the giveaway that we're doing this week. We went into Marks and Spencer's, and Joe's got a little note of what I want to speak about, but I think I'm on track, Joe, so far, aren't I?
Yeah.
We went into Marks and Spencer's on, it was Wednesday, yeah, it was Joe's birthday, Wednesday. He's turned 23 this week, and believe me, you start to feel a bit old when your baby's 23. Well, I do anyway. So we were in Marks and Spencer's, and we were looking at sweaters because they had some sale stuff, and Joe found a really nice sweater at half price. And then there was, and we were in the menswear department, and there was a sweater that I liked. Now, please excuse me, I'm hungry. This sweater that I like.
Coffee.
It's the coffee. I've been drinking coffee and I haven't eaten, yeah. This sweater that I liked was there on the rack and reduced to $9.99 from, it was $29.99. And I said to Joe, I like this. What colour is it? And he said, oh, it's navy blue, a sort of dusky navy blue. My sort of colour. And I used to go into Marks and Spencer's when I was big, and I used to buy men's sweaters in a double XL. Now, they were always too long in the sleeves, but I'd shove them up. But they fit fine in the body. I mean, there was plenty of me to fill it out. Anyway, I said to Joe, have they got this sweater in a medium? And he passed it to me, and I took off my jacket and took off my fleece, because I now wear 3 or 4 layers of clothes, whereas the old fat me could get a t-shirt under my coat if I was lucky. But I can now wear 3 or 4 layers. And I tried on this medium-sized sweater, and it buried me, absolutely buried me. So Joe said, oh, you're okay, they've got a small, and he passed me the small. And I'm sitting here today glowing with pride in myself, not meaning to be too vain, but the small one buried me as well. And it just helps me, and it boosts my intentions to stay with this plan when I can say I used to be a 2XL in men's jumpers, and that would have been snug. And now a small is too big. And I'm not saying it to show off, I'm just saying it to motivate myself endlessly to stay on this plan, because I like that feeling. And then another strange thing, which was very pleasant, happened yesterday when the carpet fitter came round. And I've been using this family business of carpet fitters for 40 years. And the man who comes now, when I started to use the company, was a schoolboy of probably 6 or 7. And his dad and mum ran the business. And now he's one of the senior partners. And he popped in yesterday with his sample books, and we were measuring and we were choosing. And Richard, if you're watching, it's only a new kitchen floor. I'm not doing the whole place. Richard will be aghast. Oh God, what's she up to now? And we did the business, and he left some samples. We'd more or less chosen what I wanted, but he left some samples for Joe to look at. And then I just turned around, and he was about to leave, and he just went, "Jane, how much weight have you lost?" So I told him, it was 12 stone 2 yesterday, it's 12 stone 4 today. And he was just like, "I just can't believe the difference. You look amazing, and I just cannot believe the difference." Somebody's burglar alarm's going off, sorry. Now what struck me was, it was a boost to my confidence to have this really lovely guy have the courage to compliment me, because that can't be easy, to tell a woman she's lost weight. We don't tell them when they've put it on generally, do we? But it was a boost to my confidence for him to say that. But the thing that struck me more than anything as he drove away was, I'm amazed that Vic ever saw me as fat. I wouldn't have thought he would have noticed me. But obviously if a man notices you've lost weight, then he must have noticed how big I was to start with. And a bit of that it made me feel a bit sensitive, because I'm thinking, oh my God, when he saw me at 22 stone, he was probably, and this is me putting my thoughts onto him, but he's probably thinking, good Lord, woman, you've let yourself go or something. But yeah, it was a mix of emotions that came out of me when he actually noticed how much weight I'd lost. And I was really appreciative that he had the courage to say it. And this sort of thing comes up when you see somebody you haven't seen for a while, and I guess it will continue to happen. I was in the medical practice earlier in the week, and one of the practice nurses that I've probably not seen for about 3 years came out and nearly fell over backwards. She was like, oh my God. And Joe's been astounded this week. It's happened a few times this week, hasn't it, Joe?
Yeah.
That people are literally stopping us in the street, and Shelley, the nurse, was just more than amazed, and she's like, how on earth have you done that?
Yeah, they're all blown away, aren't
They were absolutely blown away, and she said, how on earth have you done that? And I just said, Slimming World, and she laughed, and she said, I joined last night. And I said, well, here's your proof it works. And one of the GPs in the practice overheard that conversation as she walked past, and she stopped. It's not a GP that I know or a GP that I see, but she said, can I just ask, how much weight have you lost? So I told her, 12 stone 2 as of that day. And she said, right, that gives me fuel for thought when I have patients who endlessly sit in front of me and say, I can't lose weight because I eat so little, doctor. I don't eat enough to keep a sparrow alive. And I said, well, they shouldn't be eating birdseed. They should be going to Slimming World. But when I think back, that was one of the excuses I used to use. I used to say to my best friend when he was alive, I don't understand why I'm fat. I don't eat enough to keep a bird alive. And his answer was always, must be a bloody big bird. So, yeah, today I am honest with myself. I don't try and con myself. I don't try and kid myself. I don't eat anything I don't count. And that's not because I'm extreme. It's because it matters. And the only person who's responsible for my weight is me. So if I'm using anything or adding anything to my food that has a sin value, I count it. Because it's not worth it not to. When I see people vlogging, and I'm not thinking of any specific person because it does happen an awful lot, people will say things like, oh, and I had a tablespoon of so-and-so, I think that's half a sin. And I sit here and I'm talking to my iPad going, it's 2 sins. But I'm not criticising anyone because I used to do that myself. And I've learnt now that to lose the weight, first and foremost, because that is the longer part, well, no, it has been the longest part of my journey. Hopefully maintaining it will end up as a longer part of my journey. But losing the weight consistently has had to get me to a place where I am totally honest with myself. I couldn't have lost this weight if I'd continued to do it the way I did it in the beginning. I had to evolve and get real. And I think it is a learning curve, and I think it is a journey where we will all evolve. I know I had to. Because if I did it the same way today that I did it in the early days, which was maybe counting sins of 85% of what I ate, instead of 100%, I'd be gaining weight today and I would be rocketing back up there. So I know it's my honesty with myself on here as a journal for my journey. It's my honesty that's keeping me where I'm at. So it's been a good week. It's been an interesting week. It's been a very stressful week, and I'm not going to go into sharing why it's been a very stressful week, but it has been a very stressful week this week. And yet, I got to this morning and I was standing in the queue at Slimming World and I thought, do you know what, Jane? Pat yourself on the back, because as stressful as your week has been, you have never once thought of picking up food. Now, I'll be honest with you, I did once think I could murder a fag. Then I know that I'm reacting to stress. But I honestly did never think once of picking up food. That's progress. And that's because of this plan. So, yeah. Moving on. Let's do the giveaway. Next Saturday, it'll be a year since we started making these videos. And we've really enjoyed it, haven't we, Joe?
Yeah, we have, yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. And we're grateful for the people who take the time to watch them. It doesn't go unnoticed that we have a really lovely group of followers or subscribers who regularly comment and teach us stuff, which makes it worthwhile making these videos because we're learning too. And I'm sure other people reading the comments that some of my subscribers put are blessed by them in the way that I am. Get a lot of encouragement, and it just serves to help you move forward. That's what we need to be doing. We need to be encouraging one another on this journey. So, to encourage you, not to encourage you to keep following me, but to encourage you to aim for sin-free drinks. Because one of the things I regularly say on my journal, my plan, God, I've lost the word, my diaries, my videos, my vlogs, whatever people call them, is I try my very best not to drink my sins. Because I can knock back a hot chocolate that Joe makes me for 4 sins quite quickly. If that's the day when I'm better spending those sins on food, I'd rather leave out that hot chocolate and focus on free drinks. There are very few times when I will actually spend my sins on drinks. I only do it when I've got sins to spare. So I decided for a giveaway, I'm going to give away a collection of sin-free drinks. And these are sin-free drinks that I use. I'm doing this because I wanted to ask a question of all of you. To enter this competition, A, you need to be a subscriber, and that would be appreciated, and B, you need to leave a comment telling us what's your favourite sin-free drink. Hopefully we can get a list going that will give people new ideas. I was at a friend's for coffee the other morning and I had a coffee with her. But regularly when I go, she offers me a second coffee, and if I refuse it, she'll say to me, would you like a hot OXO or a hot Bovril? And thinking about it, you know, that might be a nice drink sometimes that would be a little bit more filling than a cup of tea or coffee. But I'd never thought. Yeah, when we were kids, we used to drink hot OXO all the time. So basically, please be a subscriber. And if you want to be in the draw next Saturday, just leave us a comment telling us what is your favourite sin-free drink. It doesn't need to be a hot drink. It could be a cold drink.
What's yours?
What's mine? This. Is that on camera, is it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Perfect.
Tea pig, mint and licorice. Leave it to stew for 15 minutes and it blows your mind. It's sweet and it's very licoricey, and I love licorice. So for me, that's a nice drink when I'm fancying something sweet, and it's free. What's yours?
In the morning, I have water, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and then lemon squeezed into it, and that's my favourite drink.
And that's sin-free.
Yeah, that's it.
And do you have your water hot or cold?
It's about body temperature. I don't have it either way. I don't have it warm, but I don't have it cold either.
And how much water? Half a pint?
About
Pint?
500 ml.
So about a pint. So there you go. That's his contribution and my contribution. And the rest of the time, he's a bit of a water drinker and the occasional black coffee. And the rest of the time, I'm a bit of a coffee drinker, or a lot of a coffee drinker. And if you see me drinking water, take a photograph, because it's a very unusual occurrence. And I know that's not something I'd advise anybody else to be like, but it's just the way I am. I've lost my weight drinking very little water, but I have a lot of fluid in my diet. I take a lot of homemade soups, I eat a lot of vegetables, and I drink a lot of herbal teas and coffees.
We're not telling you how to do it.
No, I'm just telling you what I do.
Yeah.
That's all I can talk about. So let me run through what we've got here. First we have the tea pig mint and licorice. There's 15, what do they call them? Tea temples they call them, don't they? It's just to worship the stuff, but it's worth it. Secondly we have, go on Joe, you tell us.
Tea pigs, chamomile flowers.
And that's a sort of evening restful type drink.
Yeah, that one's caffeine free as well.
Caffeine free. Thirdly we have,
Clipper organic coffee.
this is Joe's absolute, this coffee Joe drinks all the time when he's at home. And he swears, and whoever wins this can probably confirm or deny it, but he swears when you first make it, it smells like dark chocolate. And I must admit, I like it, but I tend to drink it with milk. Joe drinks it black. Then we have
Twinings apple and elderflower flavoured green tea.
Thank you, Joe. I can do this one, I know by the touch. This is Red Bush or Rooibos, which is a naturally caffeine-free tea. I like this with milk in. It's got a kind of smoky flavour. A lot of people drink it black, but I like it with milk. So I think we've got 40 tea bags there. Next we have Pucker.
Pucker cleanse. Radiant blend of organic nettle, fennel and peppermint.
That's nice. I like that one after lunch. Then we have another mint and licorice. This is a Pucker, isn't it?
Yeah, Pucker,
organic
peppermint and licorice.
mint and licorice. This is really nice, but isn't as intense as the tea pig one.
But it is still sweet. The
it's
longer you
sweet.
leave it, the better it gets.
Yeah. With some teas, you do need to read the boxes, because some of them it says infuse for 3 or 4 minutes, and if you leave them much longer, they're horrible. So if you find that you don't like herbal teas and you think, I've tried this one, I've tried that one, don't like them, always make sure you read the packet about the infusion time, because some of them are awful. I mean, I don't know about that one, whether how long you infuse that one for.
Oh, I don't think it matters, man.
Doesn't matter with that one.
Well,
Some of them,
you wouldn't leave it too long because
no, but
it's
some of
green
them,
tea.
some of them are unpleasant if you leave them too long.
Yeah, green tea will be unpleasant. If you
Yeah,
left
so
it
anything
too
with
long.
green tea in it, you don't leave it too long.
But just read the pack.
Yeah, read the pack. And finally, 100 sachets of stevia. This is the artificial sweetener that I would choose to use.
An artificial sweetener.
No,
It's natural.
there you go, got it wrong. This is the natural sweetener. I'm not with it today. This is a natural sweetener I would choose to use in place of artificial sweetener. Stevia comes from a plant. It's not like aspartame or
I don't know, it's a funny word, isn't it? Aspartame.
yeah, aspartame or whatever. This is natural, and there's 100 sachets in there. And then finally, something to drink them out of. Nothing tastes better than Slimming World.
Life tastes better with Slimming World.
I knew it's something like that. Life tastes better with Slimming World. But this is the saying. On the other side, I'm going to let Joe read it because I'll fluff it. This is the one that I think is valuable.
It took a lot of willpower, but I finally gave up dieting.
And that's the key to this plan. Follow this plan. It's a lifestyle change. Kick the old dieting habits. That would be my advice, because that's what I've done. I'm no longer on a diet. I've got a lifestyle plan that works for me. So, enough for today. Enter the competition, please, and it'll be a pleasure to pull one of your names out next week. Have a great week, and remember, it works if you work it, it won't if you don't. See you next week. Bye.